Yo, it's Friday. The hat is backwards already. Turn it backwards, Kyle. We got work to do. We're talking about California telling residents not to charge their EVs. Netflix going Lux for ad spires. Tongue twister. Tongue twister. Netflix goes Lux for ad buyers. And talk about editing a couple of tweets as well. Woo, we just came in hot out of another room. We got up early to be on a clubhouse room. That went long, as they always do. And now we're into the live show. And we're coming out of this live show into the next clubhouse room in 13 minutes from now. The All Things Used Car Room by David Long, powered by ASOTU. We're going to go in there and talk about some used car things. We have some other things to talk about. We're going to hit you quick hits this morning. Hey, if you're not coming to ASOTUCon, we're going to say it. ASOTUCon.com. Get your tickets. I know everybody's waiting until the last minutes and they're still buying tickets, but get your tickets so we can make sure there's a lot of cheesesteaks for you. We got Auto Collabs launching 2 new episodes today. Nathaniel Greklich, super fun. Brian Ortega, super fun. 2 insanely great content creators in automotive. And I would just say not even outside automotive, they're great content creators as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so
these guys, I'm telling you what, you got to follow them. I don't care if you're in or outside of automotive. You got to follow Nathaniel Greklich and Brian Ortega on all the platforms. Actually, you can go to brianjortega.com and watch all his videos. They're nuts. It's
outrageous. They're outrageous. They're outrageous. Hey, we got a couple of the 3 news stories, but first, Kyle and I have been on calls all week long with dozens and dozens of dealers and industry partners. And we thought we wanted to share a little bit of like what we're learning and feeling. There's something different happens when you're on a private Zoom call with someone, not on a live podcast and not in a room with 50 other people, but in a room with 1, 2, or 3 other people, that you start to understand, even in a more deep way, the essence of what drives the retail automotive industry. And let me just tell you this, it isn't cars.
It's not cars. It's everything. It's almost everything, but it's like the level of attention that they have for like business operations, for caring for their people, for understanding the economics of scale. It is. I mean, we're literally talking to Darren Doan yesterday, and he's like, imagine starting a business and tens of millions of dollars are going to flow through that business on a daily basis, but you're only allowed to really kind of be local. Throw that out to someone. Like these operators are doing things and they're thinking about their business in ways that anybody in any retail organization can think about. I mean, I'm talking to David Long and he's breaking down the dynamics of inventory that's on ground, in pipeline, on order, and figuring out how to manage those business entities on a daily basis. Like, that's dialed in. I don't know if you've ever thought of that, but wild stuff.
Man, some of the other conversations, so much focused on people, so much focused on the heart, cultivating the hearts of the people who work for you, helping them to realize everything they have inside them as their potential, helping them walk through hard times. Man, we even some conversations with dealers on why they're not taking government money that they are entitled to legally, because it's been a strong year in profitability. And they're like, we decide not to take it. And other dealers being like, yeah, you know what? We didn't take it either. Yeah, we didn't take it either. And that is not what it seems like if you read the newspaper about car dealers.
No.
But I think you'd be really hard pressed to find
two top execs from cars.com, the president and the founder. So Alex Vetter and Doug Miller both saying, hey, look, the sentiment across their platform called DealerRater is overwhelmingly positive for dealers.
Right. This is a website where you're like, hey, rate the dealer, rate the salesperson, rate your experience. That's actually where it's all coming out. We're not talking about like the subreddits and the things like that where it can tend to go negative, right? Or the negative energy just gets amplified. DealerRater is like, hey, it's the customer's chance to talk about their experience in a way that they know the dealer's going to see it, right? Yep. Which is more applicable. So we just wanted to share some of that energy with you today, because that is what we're trying to do as ASOTU, right? If we are going to change and not change, if we're going to elevate the culture and perception of retail automotive, more of this needs to get out. You are a big part of it. We're trying to do everything we can to empower you to do everything you can. Let's get into some news. Speaking of doing everything they can.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
For everything they can.
Very broad sense.
Very, very broad sense. California asked residents not to charge their EVs just a day after announcing that all vehicles must be EV by 2035. The American Public Power Association and state energy regulators are asking people to turn thermostats up to 78 degrees. I would melt, by the way, or higher, to turn down much and turn down, not turn down on or not charge their EVs between certain periods of the day because it's hot in California in the summertime. And
like 78 degrees at all times in California, anywhere where you're
no. That's called
everywhere.
San Diego.
It's San Diego.
My sister lives in San Diego. If you just go like every mile you go inland, like the temperature goes up a degree.
Right.
It's
That's
something
fair.
like that.
That's true. Yeah.
State officials are pointing the heat wave, reminding people that this is normal for California, meaning you have to conserve energy, conserve power. Governor Gavin Newsom and other officials are also backing a plan that would allocate $5 billion to maintain the current grid instead of improving it. And the plan also
it's going to take
includes
$5 billion just to be status quo.
Well, yeah, and the plan also includes relying on fossil fuel power generators to support the power grid. We linked up an article from one of the writers at Jalopnik, and I thought it was really appropriate because he lives in California. So it was like the perspective of a professional writer, who writes about cars, who lives in California. Another publication, the Times of San Diego, reported that members of California's Air Resources Board continue to question also the practicalities of the proposal to ban gas-powered vehicles, raising concerns over challenges. Also, listen to this: affordability and equality. So it's like a kind of like you got super practical, right? We need the power to charge them. And then the more human, interpersonal, socioeconomic challenges of saying like, hey, if we make this a reality, it's really tough to do that when like the average price is like 45 grand.
Exactly. And when cost of living is already extremely high in California, I'll leave you with this. If you don't get the pushback email, you absolutely should, because our writer Chris wrote it like this. He said, telling it like it is. Clock's ticking, California. You've only got 4,504 days until January 1st, 2035.
Oh, snap. And to quote one of our ASOTU investors, David Long, living in California isn't for the faint of heart.
Got him.
Oh, man. Speaking of prices that are not for the faint of heart.
Segue.
So Netflix is taking big steps toward launching its ad-supported program, ad-supported tier. We talked about this a few weeks ago on the show. Netflix is going to start offering an ad-supported version, which is going to be cheaper, but it's not going to be very cheap for advertisers, Kyle.
Buddy, to see that they are planning to charge $65 CPM. That's almost double. That's actually over double.
Explain CPM for the non-marketers.
Yeah, cost per 1,000 impressions. And typically what you see is a cost per 1,000 impressions on any OTT or streaming platform, somewhere in the $28 to $33, depending on the platform or the audience. So we're talking over double the CPM that they are currently going to hit advertisers with, and they want to get it to $80 CPM. Now they're touting their audience data and their ability to target specific audiences. But here's the thing. I don't know another platform that isn't touting a great level of audience data, including data platforms like Amazon. They kind of got some good user data. They got people
a little bit
every single day.
We know
right?
everything they buy.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's kind of blowing my mind. And not just that, but they're asking for year-long commitments to the ad platforms, similar to like a traditional TV buy. So, it's much more akin to like a linear TV buy from both a contract perspective and the cost per impression. Man, I just don't see it as like a platform that a bunch of people are going to be running to at this point.
I mean, they're selling the hype. I think, advertisers have been drooling over Netflix's audience, which has been really just totally totally unavailable to advertisers, right? So I think it's a new platform. There's hype around it. They have brand power, and they're trying to leverage all the brand power. You know, they want a year commitment, and that might just be because they don't know how it's going to go. And if you get the year commitment, they want people who are willing to be in it for a year with them. They are limiting any advertiser spend to 20 million, which is a relief because we wanted to spend 40 million, but they said no, ASOTU, you can only spend 20 million. So I mean, it saves a little budget there. And I like what they're doing with the target. They're only going to have 4 minutes of advertising per hour in 15 and 30-second ad increments, which is a lot less than other streaming platforms. Traditional TV, this isn't going to surprise anyone. 23 minutes an hour. So it is almost, you're like, I feel like I'm watching more ads than show. It's like, well, you're pretty darn close. Launch of their service is slated for 2023, early 2023. So maybe you too can see ads on Netflix and know that that company paid a lot of money to get the product in front of your eyeballs. Speaking of getting messages in front of your eyeballs.
Stop. Segue.
Time. This is a fun one. This is a fun one. So Twitter is finally, as they've been talking about for years and people have been banging for, starting widespread testing of a new editing function to all Twitter Blue users. So if you don't know what Twitter Blue is, it's a subscription service for more content that you can get out there. And so you can edit within the first 30 minutes. So screenshots still exist for at least 30 minutes potentially. Right. And they are going to indicate that you have edited them, that the date, and including not just edited them, but the date and time the tweet was last edited. So there'll be a little bit of
accountability,
an audit trail, and you'll be able to see the edited tweets history. So, you know, for those people that maybe misspell or say that thing, it's kind of like a little cheapskate on the edit history.
Yeah, there's a cool thing about being like, hey, you got one shot at this. Once you hit send, it's gone forever.
Right. Yep.
But, you know, a lot of people have been asking for it. I'm not a huge Twitter user, so I think it's fair. I think the way they're rolling it out is fair. Hey, you can edit it only for 30 minutes and everyone can see what you did. I like how you called it an audit trail. Because if there was not if there was not the audit trail, if it just said edited, just think of like the trouble and the mayhem you could create. You could literally edit it to say the opposite thing that you said, and it would just say edited. Like, oh, spelling error. It's like, no, you said the opposite thing. I don't know.
Well, that happens on other platforms, so who knows? You know,
that's true. I don't know. We're done. This is why we don't start social media platforms.
We don't do it. We don't do that.
Well, we're definitely not done this Friday. We know you're not done either. Heading into a holiday weekend, lots of people got lots of selling, lots of barbecuing, lots of fun to be had. We'll be having fun with you here at ASOTU.